Welcome to Castles to Cauldrons, where every journey starts with a little bit of magic.
Welcome to episode 5 of Castles to Cauldrons. Here today with Rachel and Terry. Micah will hopefully join us later. We have a special guest today, and I'm going to let Rachel introduce our guest.
All right, so we have Allison Hobbs and Heather Kalia joining us today. Magical Travel was invited to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios in Hollywood, and those two got to do classroom training along with going to the Halloween Horror Nights for an evening, and they got to venture to parks and do early park admission. So we have them here to tell us about their experience.
All right. Well, I'm happy to be back. It's Allison Hobbs. You can always follow along on my social media pages. It's Allison Hobbs Magical Travel on Facebook, and then Allison Hobbs _ Magical Travel on Instagram. So, and you can also look back and see our photos from Halloween Horror Nights if you'd like.
Hey, I'm Heather Kalia. This is my first time on this show, so I'm excited to be here and talk to you about Halloween Horror Nights. It's also my first time ever attending Halloween Horror Nights, so I'm excited to be here and talk to you about that. And you can follow me at Heather Kalia with Magical Travel on both Instagram and Facebook. And
I'm doing Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, which is my favorite event for like all of theme parks. Before we get into the nitty gritty of the theme, like the actual event, let's talk a little bit about what they have to offer on the side as upcharges. Orlando for the first time did a premiere Scream night, which was great. I know y'all probably dealt with a lot of crowds out in Hollywood. Orlando's usually really crowded as well. This premium Scream night was $350 for the night, included all you wanted to eat food at select places and all you could drink non-alcoholic. Lines were minimal. I think I did all houses twice, so 20 houses in the allotted time. I think it was 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. So it was a really good investment for us. I think the waits were like 10 minutes. I would really do it again anytime they offer it. Then the other upcharge that's in both Orlando and Hollywood is the RIP tours and Express Pass. Those are just easy ways to get past the lines. Usually during the event, the lines can get up to 60, 70. I've seen 120-minute waits to get into a house. So that's just the way to get past it. And the RIP tours, there's non-private where you get with a group of 10 people, and private ones where you can just take a group of people that you're close with. Those are great because you get the history of the houses and the story that's going along with the house. Stay and Scream is exclusive to Orlando. That's where you pay to go into the park early, and you can get into the houses a little bit earlier every night, maybe by like 30 minutes or so. And if you're not a fan of scary stuff, there's the unmasking tours at Orlando, which are daytime tours. No one's in the house, and it's all lights on. So you get that history, the design. You can see everything really, really well. I love it. The whole event's just great. Allison, Heather, what did y'all think about your first experience with Halloween Horror Nights?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And it's not because I didn't think it's something to enjoy. I am just not a scary movie person. I don't do anything scary, horror movie, haunted houses, the maze trails they do at local towns. So I was anxious going into it thinking I'm going to go to my first house and Heather's going to have to drag me through the rest because I'm just going to be cowering behind her, which I'm not going to lie, I still may have stood behind her most of the time, but I had a really great time and I probably laughed more than I screamed just because it was so much fun being in all the hype and the atmosphere. It was a really, really fun night.
I really enjoyed it as well. Now, I will watch some horror movies. That doesn't bother me, but I don't really like the jump scares per se, so I've never really gone to haunted houses. But I did enjoy it, and I think it was because we went with a group of friends, and I think that makes a big difference. So we had there were two other girls with Allison and I that we went with, and I think that just made it so much more fun. We came out of the houses and we laughed and we kind of talked about, what we experienced in the house, and I think that made a big difference. And I think it was more enjoyable too because we also had the Express Pass. So we didn't have to stand in those long lines. And I'm sure that would probably have slowed us down and made it maybe not as enjoyable. So we were able to move through the houses pretty quickly.
Hollywood and Orlando usually have the IP houses, which are usually based off of movies. video games sometimes or their own in-house properties. This year, those houses are Insidious, A Quiet Place, Monsters Unleashed, Eternal Bloodline, Ghostbusters. Like I said, these are on both coasts. And there are small little changes. Which one of those was probably your favorite?
Maybe Ghostbusters, just because I was familiar with those movies, even though I haven't really seen them. The other stuff was new, and just in the rankings of between all of the 8 houses that we went through, those other ones like A Quiet Place and I can't remember one of the other ones, Eternal Bloodlines, those just didn't rank high for me. Insidious was the scariest. I don't even know how people watch those movies, so that was the scariest by far. Even if you don't agree, Jason, it was.
I don't agree.
For me, I really liked Eternal Bloodline. I really kind of liked the storyline of that, of seeing the female monsters and kind of going through that. And, you know, I actually kind of went back through some of my videos, and when I was editing and kind of putting it on Instagram, there were a bunch of jump scares in there that I didn't realize that I saw. I mean, I felt it at the time, but going back and watching my video, I was actually able to see what the jump scares were. So that was pretty cool. Ghostbusters, of course, that's kind of like a classic. A Quiet Place, I was kind of disappointed with. And then Insidious, yes, that one was that one wasn't the scariest. That one was the second scariest for me. So
what was the scariest for you?
It was the Dead Zone, which they did not have in Orlando.
Dead Exposure.
Yes, that's it. Dead Exposure. Sorry.
They had it in Orlando a few years ago, and they brought it over. Yeah, they brought it over to Hollywood.
Yeah, that one definitely scared me, just because in general, zombies are something that I feel like I was, you know, when I used to watch horror movies, like that is a nightmare for me. Like, and I feel like it's something that maybe a little bit more likely in your head that you can kind of imagine something going wrong. And yeah, the jump scares in that were on point.
Was it a lot of strobe lights in that house?
Not strobe lights per se, but there were a lot of neon. It was dark, and then the neon lights.
We had a bunch of strobe lights the year we had it, and it was crazy. That made it just random. I didn't like the house when we had it. Rachel and Terry, which one of the houses from the known properties would y'all want to go through?
I would want to see Ghostbusters just because it's such a classic movie and I'm familiar with it. And then I would probably want to do Insidious just to see how scary it really is.
Same with Ghostbusters, just because I know the Ghostbuster lore and I don't do scary movies and things. And I would not want to go see Insidious house, anything, because I see like the screenshots, like when people meme the Insidious, isn't he the red guy that like pop? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not trying to see that. So I'm going to stick with Ghostbusters, because at least I've seen those movies. But I did have a question about the Quiet Place house. And it made sense when you said it wasn't your favorite, because I've obviously never seen the movies. But isn't the whole premise like they have to be quiet the entire time, or the monsters? So how do you do a haunted house based on the fact that you have to be quiet? Like, is it a quieter house? How does that work for, like, if someone was, you know, just intrigued by the idea?
I guess it was somewhat quiet, and then it would have whatever the noise was, whether it was someone screaming or someone started like a kitchen appliance or something that made the monster. But for me, I thought it wasn't as scary because there was too much lighting in this house, and you just saw behind the scenes too much, and it just like you could almost see what was coming before you even got to it. And I mean a whole room ahead. So it's just
you felt like you were in a movie, like you knew it was fake because everything around you looked fake.
It felt very fake, and just you saw, like I said, you saw almost every part of it. It felt like. So yes, you still have jump scares, because even when you get to a room, maybe there'd be a certain like loud sound or something that would still kind of get you, but those creatures or whatever you would call them in the quiet place, you just got to see basically the whole setup, and it didn't make those images as scary as they probably are on the film.
Gotcha. Now, did it make you want to stay quiet the whole time like you were in the movie? Like, did you feel the need to like not talk, or was it just so
No,
took
I
you
think
out of the moment
probably,
so much you didn't feel like that?
and it was still, you're pretty close to the groups in front of you. Like, you can kind of determine how much space you leave between you and the group ahead of you. But, you don't know if someone's still going to walk in right behind you, though, in your group. And there was still, I would just say, general commotion. Like it didn't ever feel like just silent.
Gotcha.
I see the attendants in Orlando, they were very much like, shh, on when you're walking in type thing. So they wanted you to try to stay quiet. The soundscape was actually, they didn't put a soundtrack behind it. So you can hear like the trees rustling and stuff like that. And that was on purpose. And then all the actors all in the house itself used ASL. So like in the movie, they're sitting there signing to each other. Every now and then one of them might scream or something like that, at least Orlando wise.
Well, that might make a difference.
There was a really good hallway. It was a pitch black hallway that we have. And there was a good scare coming out like in the hallway. I only got it once, but it was great. Like, cause you don't know anything. It's pitch black. You can't see anything in front of you. You put your hand, right in front of your face and you don't know it's there. Then all of a sudden light turns on and there's a monster there.
You know how you kind of mentioned you only got that scare once? We did realize that after our first house, we had kind of just kept with the flow, walking behind the group in front of us. And we think that's why we didn't find the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house as scary, because we didn't get any of the jump scares. Like, sure, we saw them and it still just like was a house that is scary. But we learned right after that when almost immediately Heather realized like, hey, I'm going to leave some space before we start, so that then our group, we knew at least it was going to be one of the four of us to get the jump scare. And then that's what was so funny, is you didn't really know who was going to get it. And so then like you're all scared just waiting for it, and then to see who actually gets the person to jump out in front of them or from behind, it was just, that was the fun part.
So as someone that hasn't been to Halloween Horror Nights, but I have been to other haunted houses in my area, do they separate you guys into groups and they keep space, or they just let everyone just in? Oh, they just let everyone in?
Yeah, they kind of.
Yeah, there was like an attendant before you actually walk in. So, I mean, like there was kind of someone, I guess, just monitoring who's walking in. But no, it was up to us whether we wanted to stop and leave space. And then the people inside the house just made sure you kept going. Like, say, if people did get scared or they knew there was a jump scare in the next room, they would not let you, though, stop. Like, they were like, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I felt like we were kind of pushed on, like they didn't really want us to hang back. So
the tip would be to go slow enough, but not so slow where they tell you to hurry up.
Well,
Yes.
at least leave the space that you can before you get started, because it will just back up in the house because of the jump scares and people looking at stuff.
And that's very Hollywood. Like in Orlando, they make you keep that pace. Like they're wanting people to go through because it's a much more popular experience in Orlando. So you have a long conga line, and those attendants are like, all right, you got to keep coming. Like, don't stop, don't pause or anything. So if you want to go through a house by yourself, that premiere night that they did this year, they did that. They let me and my friend go in. When it was 20, 30 seconds later, they put in the next person. So we could take our time, get all the scares, read whatever. Like in the monster's house, there's transitions for each scene, and you could sit there and read. That was nice. Like, that's why I paid that money to do that, so I could actually experience the house at my own pace.
It does seem like it would be scarier if it wasn't like one long line of people, like you felt, like you had to, for the build up to happen. Is, a lot of times that's what makes things like the jump scares scarier, is that you kind of hype yourself up. So you're saying it's worth it, in your opinion, to pay the extra for the premiere so you could Well, here's another question. How long does it take to go through the houses? Because you said you went through so many in that, 6-hour period or however long? I forget. But so how long does one house take maybe so someone can map out their night?
It really depends. Each of the houses are different lengths. Like Insidious in Orlando is pretty long. Like
Okay.
it's usually, I think, about 2-3 minutes to walk through, maybe 4.
That's long.
Yeah, I was when
Yeah.
you said long, I was thinking like 15 minutes, honestly.
No.
That's what I
like-
was thinking, Terry.
No,
It feels longer.
yeah, it
Maybe.
feels longer, but they're all real short. Like 5 of the houses in Orlando are in what they call sprung tents and backstage, so there's not much room to do anything. So you're walking through a big tent, and it's like one of those a wedding tent that they
Yeah.
put out. So it's just a permanent structure.
Do you feel that you got gypped because you wait so long and then like it's over so quickly?
No, because it's fun. Like
Okay.
just like when you sit there and watch and pay attention to what they've done, and you know the story, you get the whole experience. And if seeing the people in front of me get scared and hearing the people behind me get scared, because I don't get scared, it's just great. Like that's the
So
whole.
it's fun to people watch.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say one of the fun things, we were waiting to get into Insidious, and we were right there as the people were coming out of the exit, and to watch them come out and see their reaction really kind of build it up for us as well, because they came out and they were like, "Oh man, that was so scary."
Yeah, so
that
we
was
could tell there was a jump scare. There must have been a jump scare right before you exit that was catching people like completely off guard. I mean, we were laughing with the cast member because we were like, what in the world is on the other side of that curtain that people are coming out like with a completely different facial expression, like almost running out that curtain. And so just knowing that that was going to be towards the end was also like, what are we about to encounter?
And that's something they did a lot of in Orlando, is put that last scare after you think you're done, and then there's like one of the triplets from the Triplets of Terror. He's standing right behind the end exit, so as soon as you walk out, he's scaring people. You know, the monster from Frozen Empire is standing at the end of that one. So we get the same thing. We're seeing people just run because they're getting that last scare, and I love it.
But
I would say the monster from Frozen Empire got me because I didn't realize that he was a real. I thought he was just like an animatronic, and then all of a sudden he started walking towards me. I was like, "Oh, wait, you're real."
But Terry, kind of to go back to your question, not just with like the house times, but because these are all set up throughout the whole property, it's, the same in Orlando. A lot of your time was getting to the house.
Okay.
There would be like 2 in the same area, luckily. But like one time, I mean, we had to walk almost 15 minutes just to get back to where I think it was Insidious and Ghostbusters were in the same area. And I mean,
Yes.
It was a long walk. We basically walked all the way through the terror tram, like part of that, just to like get back there. And then you had to walk all the way back to get to the other houses. So some of it was just getting around and getting to the areas you needed to for the houses.
So like a daylight day for, Universal or Disney, where you've still planned everything out and you have to account for the travel time in between and all that stuff.
And in this case, like Allison said, you got to really plan for that extra time, because in Orlando, there's 2 houses behind Men in Black, and that's a good 10-15 minute walk to get back there. It's in they moved them from the parade buildings to the new sprung tents. So you're walking, it's far enough back where they've had to put bathrooms, and you go back to either Monsters or Goblin. And when you get done with that one, you can walk back around to like a small entrance, do the other house, and then you walk back out. You're dedicating some time to do some of these houses of just walking to them.
And the entire time they've got like the costumed people walking around, like the spooky vibe is still there, and you're
Not in the queues.
but like when you're walking from house to house,
Yeah.
like
The
in
scare
there's some-
zones.
Yeah. There's some safe spots, but there's the scare zones are there all night.
And especially for Hollywood too, because you have the two levels. You definitely have to make sure that you build in time for that. So we went down to the lower lot first and did all of those haunted houses before we came back up to do the top level.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for that tip. I mean, that definitely, it was nice to just know that we had finished up all those houses because it takes you, it's 4 very long escalators after you've already walked to the back of the park. And I mean, it takes a hot minute to get to the lower lot.
Original houses that they have. Cool thing was we got Monstros down in Florida, which was something Hollywood had last year. And then this year, Hollywood had the sequel, Monstros 2, which is all Latin monsters. Hollywood then had the Weekend Nightmare trilogy, which we had a Weekend house a couple of years ago. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Dead Exposure, which we've kind of touched on. Orlando's originals were Slaughter Cinema 2, which the first one was my second HHN. The Museum, Goblin Fest, Triplets of Terror, Major Suites, and of course Monstros again. Which of the original quote unquote houses was y'all's favorite out there in Hollywood?
Well, it was Dead Exposure was our favorite. We were a little bit disappointed that Texas Chainsaw didn't turn out to be what we thought it was going to be because that was our first house. Like we should have picked something else to go through first.
But not disappointed enough to redo it.
Because there, and I guess, that adds to it too. There definitely is a smell that going through Texas Chainsaw and also through Insidious too, that I was like, ooh, let me get out of here. But it definitely adds to the ambiance. So yeah, Dead Exposure was definitely my favorite.
Okay, so let me clear something up. All the houses usually have some smells. Some are bad, some are good. Yeah, most of them. Usually there's a house with poop smell. There has been barf smells in there. There's like rotting flesh type smells, blood smells.
Oh my God, they're attacking all your senses.
Yeah. So I mean it's there. The Weekend house that they had a few years ago, you went through a bathroom, you could smell the poop. Before I started going to HHN, there was a baby room or something where there was all the dirty diapers in it, and it was, from what I understood, was horrible smelling.
Wow, well,
That's disgusting.
The Texas Chainsaw and the Insidious. I don't know. Allison, did you smell any others?
No, those were the 2 that I guess had the most
Or the
smell.
strongest?
Describe the smell. Yeah.
Well, obviously Texas Chainsaw, they were supposed to try to make you feel like there were like burning flesh.
Well, it first started out like bacon. I felt like it started out as bacon first. And then as you walked further in, it kind of turns into like rotting flesh. Yes.
So you're saying when we get burned, we smell like bacon, and then
At first. And I think it's too toasty.
That's where they get you. Is like you walk into this house and you're getting to an area and it's like, man, that actually does smell really good. And you turn the corner and they're cooking like arms on a grill. And you're like, oh, well, now I lost my appetite.
Did you get like a rusty iron smell for like the blood?
No, I
Did it
didn't
smell like irony?
smell. So yeah, and then I was like trying to cover my nose because it was so strong. Insidious, it was barf. The bathroom scene, barf.
And I feel like they put it in like one of the largest rooms. Like it's a room with literally just a toilet and that scene. But it's like there wasn't anything else going on other than just the fact they wanted to make you walk through this for like what felt like a whole minute.
Do people like throw up? Because I feel like some people would have like a reaction. Like, like some people smell barf or see someone barf and they barf themselves.
Well, at least we didn't see any of that. People were definitely, trying to get out of the room though. Like, people were like trying to almost run up on the next person to be like, get me out of this section.
I do appreciate the full immersion that they're putting out there. That's pretty good.
Jason, did you mention The Weekend though as one of the ones we could pick from for our favorite of the original ones to Hollywood?
Yeah.
Because I really did. That one was like, fun. It had almost several jump scares for me, just because there was also a lot of mirrors and stuff in it. But that one was it was almost like a concert vibe on the outside. So for the people waiting in the regular queue, they had different versions of The Weeknd because of whatever album it was mimicking. It had three different people. So I think those were like the three different ones that could be acting like they were DJing up there, playing his music. And then obviously as you're going through the house, there was music. There was a few weird scenes, but like overall, I thought that house was really unique, and it was exciting going into that one after coming off of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just more of a fun and scary vibe.
I'll say that one surprised. I enjoyed that more than I thought I was going to, because I didn't understand the whole weekend thing, but I did enjoy that more than I thought I was going to.
I still don't understand the weekend thing. And
I don't understand it, but I was watching like a video prior to us going, and they were trying to explain a little bit more about it and the album cover and kind of what was going on in the house.
The house that he had a couple of years ago, I enjoyed. I'm not a huge Weekend fan, but I really liked his Orlando house. The Hollywood house was horrible to me, but it was fun. And that's something to mention is usually they have one house that is really just a fun type house. There's still scares and whatnot, but they have more upbeat, more fun, like not so scary scares. Ghostbusters was like that. It's not horribly scary. My personal favorite I have two from Orlando, was Slaughter Cinema 2. That one is great because there's a bunch of B movies. There's like 6 scare houses in there, and they theme each room as a different movie. So there's like one where the elves eat all the naughty list kids. Yeah, so they can build the toys for the nice kids. There was a Mardi Gras one where the Mardi Gras icon kills a bunch of people. Something like a Jaws. So they had a huge Jaws puppet come through. Zombie strippers was weird. I can't remember the other ones. Oh, cyborgs. It's like moms that turn into cyborgs. It was crazy.
You said there were zombie strippers?
Yes. Well, sorry. Mummy strippers.
Like mummy strippers.
Were they strippers that had been mummified and then they came back to life?
They were like the mummy strippers. But it's just one room. You walk in, there's a scare on your left, and there's a stripper on the pole on the dance floor on your right. And
were they good?
I didn't pay attention.
Because I love the art of pole dancing. Not that I do.
Hire a real stripper and put her in mummy wear and put her up there. Like
that is hard stuff.
They weren't really pole dancing. They were like just using the pole as like to walk around type thing.
All right, I can do that. I'm talking like I want to go up and down and they fall.
Down.
Yeah,
where it like actually takes
I didn't
some
see any
skill.
Of that. Yeah,
not worth it then.
And usually they try to pull some of those ideas from that Slaughter Cinema into Real House. That's where we got Yetis for a couple of years, and those were great houses. So that one's fun. I always enjoy the cinema ones. And then Major Sweets was a great one because you're going through a or a candy factory, and it's based off of a scare zone from HHN 31, and the owner is poisoning all the kids. Yeah, it's great. You're walking through and seeing him kill kids.
Did that one have a smell?
It was very sweet. Yeah, you could smell candy through a lot of it. And there's interactive buttons in this one. So like there's a candy jar, you put your hand in, something happens. And then there's 2 red buttons in the house and you push those and something actually happens, like it squirts water or air or something like that at somebody in front of you. Texas Chainsaw was actually anthology. So it was all the movies, not just one specific. It was multiple movies. So you saw the different leather faces.
I mean, they were all great. The ones in the lower lot overall were my favorite though. So that would have been Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Weekend, Dead Exposure, and Eternal Bloodlines. Like if you had to group, because they had 4 and 4, I enjoyed the ones in the lower lot more. So I kind of hated that as we got towards the end of the night, when we were more tired, those houses just weren't hitting on much for me as much as the ones in the bottom, although we definitely saved ourselves the trouble of starting up top.
The Monsters House in Hollywood was actually put in the same soundstage they filmed the original Frankenstein movies. So there's the history thing. And then on top of it, since Monsters Unleashed is a all-female house this year, the whole cast is female and the producers are female. So it was, at least that is for Orlando. I don't know how Hollywood's is. But that was a cool little tidbit. So you don't have Wolfman, you have Wolfwoman, you have the Bride of Frankenstein and the Bride of Dracula.
Yeah, I didn't know as much about the Hollywood houses, unfortunately, before we traveled there because their opening night was only the weekend before we left, that Sunday or Monday night for California. So people who had been through the opening night, all the vloggers and the people who put out video and content, didn't get most of those out in time before we were already in California and didn't really have time to watch. Obviously, while we were there, we were not watching YouTube videos. So I was a little sad because that is where I feel like I learned the fun facts that you're mentioning. And I would have loved to maybe, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on, was it more exciting because I didn't have any idea what to expect, or would I have enjoyed knowing some of the background and stories before going? But yeah, theirs started a little bit later than Orlando's.
Jason, do you do like research just like of the houses before you go? Like, do you know what to expect beforehand?
Don't watch it. Well, I obviously couldn't watch videos this year, but I try not to watch many videos of the houses. I'll watch some of the stuff of like scare zones and whatnot to see what the ambiance is like for the year. I might watch the nighttime show that they do just to see if it's something I want to put into my schedule or not. But I do listen to the podcast that Universal puts out about each of the houses and scare zones, just to kind of know what's going on. Triplets of Terror, for instance, if you walked in there, you wouldn't know what's going on. So knowing that it was triplets and they celebrate their birthday every year by killing, or every 9 years by recreating their 9th birthday where they killed their family. It's kind of cool to just know that, and also gives you a little bit more to look into. Like Orlando, they hid, every house has a snail hidden in it, so they kind of tell you what they're hiding each year. This year was a snail, and then they hide the code name. So all the houses this year, code names were desserts. So there's like an apple pie in one room for whatever apple pie was. It's cool just to know little things that I can look through, because once I get through the first run, kind of relax and look everywhere else. We're going to go to Micah for an ad break, and we'll see you on the other side.
Are you dreaming of your next adventure, but overwhelmed by planning? Magical Travel has you covered. With over 22 years in the business, we specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, cruise vacations, and all-inclusive resort getaways. Our services are 100% complimentary when you book a vacation package with one of our knowledgeable agents. Request a free quote to start the planning process at www.magicaltravel.com. Mention our podcast to be connected with one of our agents you are listening to.
And we're back. Micah is now joining us.
Hello.
So we're glad she got to come in and talk about scare zones and shows with us and ask questions. Scare zones, for those who don't know, are in the just areas in the streets that are themed to different scare potentials. So Orlando has 5, and I think Hollywood has, I think it's just 4 scare zones, and then they have the Terror Tram, which is considered a scare zone type thing. What was Hollywood like when it came to their scare zones this year, and how was the Terror Tram?
The Terror Tram was amazing, just because in general I liked riding through the sets again, even though they don't obviously talk about the different buildings you're passing, but you still drive a pretty good way through the different sound studios getting back to the scare zones. And then it takes place on the scene of is it Doomsday, Heather? What's the one with the plane crash?
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds scene. And that one was just neat in general because it's already kind of spooky with the plane smoking and people are walking around, and then you have Bates Motel, and it was just fun. There were too many people though. I wouldn't say we barely got scared at all. It was more just enjoying walking through the sets and kind of just being like out in the open too. I told Heather it was less scary for me just because I wasn't enclosed in a house. Like I liked the fact that it was open air and just kind of enjoying outside with the whole theme of the night. But I avoided most of the other scare zones. Again, we were getting right to the houses, and I feel like we only even walked through like one or two, and no one was coming up to me. They came up to Heather, but no one came up to me.
For me, yeah, the Terror Tram was pretty cool because when you pull up, you have Megan, she's standing out there and she does her little dance thing, and then they all come running out and then they pull their chainsaw as you're getting off the Terror Tram. So that was really cool. And then you kind of walk through and they are supposed to have like these play scenes of Megan, but the 3 sets that were there, I think we only had one where Megan was there. I think Megan was taking a break on the other 2.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool to see. And then you kind of walk through, like Allison said, it was cool to kind of walk through the Bates Motel scene. And then you kind of walk through War of the Worlds. And that was cool because they did the Purge people there. So that was kind of cool as you walk through. They're coming up to you with their chainsaws. And Allison was right. There were a lot of people, so you didn't really get scared as much, I guess. I didn't feel like a lot of people came up to me. We kind of just walked right through, and that was it. As for the other scare zones, I tried to avoid the rest of them because let's see, it was
it's the one like the wrestlers, like Libre, but I can't think of what they call it.
The Lucadores.
Yeah.
Lucador, how do you say that?
Yeah, I was going to say we have it written down, but I'm not going to attempt to try to say that.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't
yeah,
know. We
so
started
the
to walk through.
wrestlers.
Well, yeah, the girls started to like stand in the middle of it, and I was like, hello, no, we're not standing here. Come on, let's keep moving. And then as we're walking through, one of them came up, and I could feel him right behind me, which is fine. You can follow me, whatever. And then he comes like right around my face, and he like breathes right on my cheek. And I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't breathe on me. So I was done with the scare zones for the rest of the evening.
The one with the crow was still the weirdest thing. It was like just 3 crows on stilts, and just kind of like walking around. I mean, like a 10 by 10 foot area. Like I wouldn't call it a zone at all. It was, yeah. So those weren't of interest to me. We made our way to the other houses and to the show, and I do know people were getting scared in the main scare zone right when you walked in, which it wasn't going on when we originally got there. But when you left, you could avoid it, which we just did. But they had people chasing people with chainsaws. What's packed? I wasn't about to get chased with a chainsaw and like fall and, bust my butt in the middle of Universal Hollywood. So I chose to walk through the store.
Orlando used to have the roaming chainsaw horde, and it was always in Springfield. So I'd always sit at Duff Gardens and get a drink and just watch people get scared. It was great. There's one of them was always in an electric wheelchair, so no one could hear him, and he'd just come up behind people and then rip his chainsaw, and somebody go running. I think the last one they had was clowns with chainsaw protesting scary clowns with chainsaws. It was something really weird, but it was like, okay, it's whatever. It's just people running around with chainsaws. So,
well, I will say we did sit down to have a snack before kind of we left, and we were right there with the chainsaw scare zone, and we were kind of watching them chase people with chainsaws, and that was kind of fun. But it's more fun to watch people be chased than be the ones that are being chased. So.
Well, like I said, even if I would have been scared, high chance they're going to get me to run in a theme park like that. I would have been like, "You're just gonna have to cut my leg off because I'm not running."
Well, if you don't act scared or run, then they don't chase you. They just kind of ignore you and go to someone else.
No, they breathe on you.
I think the hot breath is scarier than a lot of the other stuff you've mentioned.
It's just gross.
Yeah, just
How were your scare zones? I don't even remember which ones Orlando had.
They were great. As usual. Duality of Fears, the one when you come in the scare zone, or when you come into the event, it's in Production Central right in front of the store. Then you go into New York, which is always the biggest scare zone. It's Torture Fair. Outside of Fast and Furious, there is the Blumhouse scare zone, which is more of a photo op. Central Park has the Swamp of the Undead, which is, it's okay. And then Demon Queens is in Hollywood. That's the thing that I do like about Orlando and I like the whole thing. I like Orlando's event better than Hollywood. But Orlando has more space. So the scare zones, they have a lot more room to do stuff. Duality of Fear is probably the smallest, and that's where the chainsaws are now. So you will get chased in and out of the park right off the get-go or right as you're leaving. But Torture Fair, it's great. It's Renaissance. So you have people walking around with the big leg doctor mask, and like it's a Renaissance fair. And they're all being tortured.
You mean you're being tortured?
Oh, I'm having fun. I'm watching everybody else get scared. That's what I like. If you're not a scared person in Orlando, if you stay on the sidewalks, then pretty much they'll leave you alone. You can get bypass Central Park altogether if you don't want to go through the Swamp of the Undead or whatever they have in that area. But everywhere else is pretty easy to get past and not, quote unquote, get scared. But they will run after you.
It's always the most fun to go with people who get scared, so you can be entertained the whole time while they're just terrified.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best.
The scare zones really make or break the event for me. But even if it's a down year for scare zones, like this year, they're not the best that I've been through, but it's still fun. Like you said, I'm not a scary type person, but I can sit back and watch people get scared and have a good time and just enjoy it. I'll walk through and get the ambiance and watch. They'll put little shows on throughout the event in each of the scare zones. So it's pretty cool just to be in there and be part of it.
Are they like from the time it opens to the time it closes? Like they're always people out there scaring?
Yes. And I will say that's the negative of the Premier Pass that I talked about earlier or the Premier night event for Orlando. The scare zones were empty. So you walk through, it seemed like the scare actors were bored because there's no one to scare. And if you're there, you're one of the people who really love the event enough where you're not going to be scared so much unless somebody can sneak up on you.
Right. Or you're someone who brought someone who's not used to that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the downfall. But yeah, they're there from beginning to end. But the scare zones are best at night. I mean, yes, it's when the crowd gets in there and people are blowing and it's dark, you can't really see what's going on. And I think that would be the same for Hollywood. You want to be there in the scare zones at night.
Mm-hmm.
So shows. I have never seen the Water World show in general, but at Hollywood, they change it to The Purge. And I don't know what the subtitle is this year, but how was it?
Well, the Water World show during the day is so much fun. Like, definitely one of the highlights of the trip. And so I was really excited when I found out there was a show then themed to The Purge for nighttime. They didn't have as much interaction with the crowd beforehand, which was some of the fun during the day. So I missed that part, but it was still just really neat. I mean, those people out there doing that kind of stunts and, it's all water and they're flipping and sea-doos and the just acting and timing that goes along with it. It's definitely something different. And I think that was the most exciting is just because we don't have anything like that in Orlando. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. It was just something cool, something different. Like Allison said, to see the stunts that they did. And, the Purge is kind of a cool storyline anyway. So to see how they changed it to make it work into a 30-minute show was kind of cool.
I was looking forward to seeing it last time I was out there. Well, they didn't have that one. They had Jabberwockies when I was out there, and they got rid of the stage for Jabberwockies to build the Fast and Furious coaster. So that's no longer there. But next time I go out to Hollywood, I really want to see that show in general, but I really want to be there for HHN and see the Purge show. I've heard it's really good from multiple people, including y'all. In Orlando, we have a Nightmare Fuel. This is the 4th year for it. It's called Nocturnal Circus. I will say it's a very 18 and over type show. A lot of lingerie, a lot of like quote unquote sexy dancing is what it's been called on a lot of podcasts.
Any strippers?
Pretty much.
I was going to say, is it burlesque like?
Kind of.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit more tame than last year. Last year they had like a girl with leashes on 3 dudes walking out on the stage. Yeah, so
it's like fetish.
Yes.
Got it.
But a lot of
Very 18 plus. Maybe
very,
21 plus.
Yeah.
Maybe 21 plus. Maybe 30 plus. You know, it is a very popular show. It's very good. All the people there are talented. There's a girl swinging from her hair in this one. The past couple of shows they used a contortionist. There's magic in it and all that stuff. A lot of fire. If I didn't say that already, but I need to say it more because there is a lot of fire. It gets like super hot when your opening weekend is 100 degrees and then say, hey, we're going to put 16 pyro right in front of you.
Ugh.
But great show. It's usually you want to get there about an hour before so you can get seats, good seats. If not, you're going to be sitting in the nosebleed. But I enjoy it. It's fun. I'll usually see it at least once a trip. So
How many showings do they usually do a night?
I think it's 5. It's 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think same for the Purge. It was maybe 4 or 5 because we caught the next, just the one before the last one. Or no, maybe we did catch the very last one.
No, I think there was one more.
Okay. Maybe it was because I was starting to get so tired. I was like, if we don't make the 10:30, the next one isn't until like 12.
Yeah, and that's the way this one is. The last one is midnight, 12:30, something like that. It's really close to the end of the night. It's in the Fear Factor stage, so right in between Diagon Alley and Men in Black. And it gets really congested there. So if it's not something that people want to see, you got to make it, make sure you know timing, because as soon as that show lets out, that's a few thousand people trying to get out back into the streets to do scare zones and houses. So you don't want to be in that big cluster.
If you're doing an RIP tour, do you get like priority seating? Do they take you in to sit for the show?
Yes. You are sitting front and center for the show. I think it's the first 5 or 6 rows, and you're on either side of the stage. There's a little partition that comes out into the seating area. So you get to sit like right in front of some of the actors. I don't is the Purge the same way? Did y'all notice that with the RIP?
I don't remember.
I want to say there was. I believe so.
Now, we were glad, though, with Express Pass because we, like I said, we had just had a snack and we're watching that scare zone. And we just did not realize we turned the corner and we were still already planning to get there, I think, about 15 minutes or so before the show started. Or, we didn't wait till the last minute. And thank goodness, because it already had a pretty big line. But because we had Express, there was a shorter line queue. So we got to go in first and then pick our seat. And then they filtered everyone else in. But I don't remember if I saw any RIP tours.
I think so. I think they had a paddle.
Mm-hmm.
They were holding seats.
And Nightmare Fuel doesn't use Express Pass. And so you just good luck on that type thing. It's first come, first serve, unless you're RIP. So that's just there for note. Food. I think we had enough time for some food. Did y'all taste any of the exclusive items or anything like that? Drinks?
Only the little Stay Puffed marshmallow.
Yeah, we only did the State Puff, and he was cold.
Oh, it
That's
was?
Yes, it was such a disappointment because I'm not even like a huge s'more person, but I do enjoy just a s'more from time to time. But it was like cold, and the marshmallow was the majority, obviously, of the snack. So it just was like you were chewing through a cold marshmallow, and then you kind of had a little bit of graham cracker and chocolate.
See, I watched the guy torch my Stay Puft. It was great. Like I sat there and I couldn't even eat the whole thing because it was just melting away. I'm like, oh yeah.
Nope. We had a completely separate experience. Now, I would have loved to maybe try some of the bars. Like there was a Chucky theme bar,
The Weekend bar.
Los Muertes bar, I believe. I may be saying that wrong as well. No one come after me. But those just had such long lines.
I didn't try any much food either. I tried.
Even on the premiere night? If I would have had food included, I would have made more time to maybe try a few other items. But we had just eaten before, and we did get a snack at one point throughout the night, but we picked just a short line. Like I just got chips and a water and hog's mead.
See, I'm a very picky eater, so a lot of
but you had the drinks.
Yeah, I had some good drinks.
They looked good.
They did. I don't remember what I got, but yeah, the creepy cola. I had that one. That one had a worm in it. It was good. I don't even have a menu pulled up. There was something with espresso. And walked up to the HHN bar, and the bartender was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Just give me something. I don't care." She goes, "Okay, here you go." I'm like, "What is it?" She told me the name, and I'm like, "Oh," and she's like, "It has espresso." And I'm like, "I hate coffee." She goes, "You told me to pick something." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll still drink it."
Was it like an espresso martini?
No.
Oh, I like those.
And there was a Ghostbuster drink I had that had marshmallow topping, and it was really good.
Oh yeah, was that the
it was green
one?
Yeah, it was green.
Yeah,
that looked good.
I can't remember. And then I'd get random drinks throughout the night, just beers and whatnot. So, but like they had a mint corn dog.
mint.
Yeah. So instead of the dog on the inside, it was a thing of mint dipped in the corn batter with bugles and some type of sprinkle on the top. And I was like, no, I don't want that.
All of that sounds disgusting.
It was my friend got it, and he's like, took one bite and said that was horrible. I'm like, yeah, that's why I didn't even want to try it.
No, that's for the people who had too much to drink, and then they think that sounds good.
That's why I was seeing people throw up in the.
Yeah.
Like that combination doesn't even sound appealing.
No.
Or intriguing. It's like gross.
I was intrigued to see what it looked like because I'm like, okay, that looks like something cool and like not taste good, but yeah.
Like straight up mint, or was it at least like mint chocolate with the salty of the bugle that maybe somebody might like? I hate chocolate and mint together.
Toothpaste.
So.
Like what? Like actual mint leaf?
Like I don't know exactly what it was because I didn't eat the thing. But it's just like a cream.
It's toothpaste in a corn.
They just went boxes
batter.
of Crest. And
She ran out of stuff and just threw ingredients together.
Hey, ask someone's like 5-year-old, make up like a food for us to have here. And they're like, what do we have in here? Let me just throw all this together.
Yeah. Then they had like I had a light bulb. There was a drink that was in a light bulb. And that was strong. It was bourbon. That was when it was raining. I sat at a bench in the rain and just drank it like an old sad story. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What advice do y'all have, Heather and Allison, for first timers going to their first HHN?
To at least give it a try once, because it definitely was something out of my comfort zone. But I keep saying the word vibe, but you can tell that the majority of the people there are very excited to be there because it is what they love. And it was very contagious to be just in that atmosphere. And obviously, like, I love any good theme. So I'm not going to lie, like, we did matching shirts this year, but I've seen what people are wearing to Orlando. And if I were to go again, I would maybe try to think outside the box just to, like, really make a night of it. But I would say, yes, top advice is just give it a try. You know, even if you're not someone into scary things. I promise it's not that bad, especially if you go with friends.
That's what my advice is. Go with a group of friends. You'll have a good time. You can laugh. Maybe give yourself a little bit more courage if it's not something that if it's not your thing. And hang back if you can from the people in front of you so that you can maybe get the jump scare. So don't just walk up on the person in front of you.
We heard that the show was should be probably 18 and up, but what do you guys suggest as far as a general age of, because Universal is oh, let me take my kids there, but would you say don't take your kids to something called horror nights? Or
I mean, you definitely got to know your kids' interests, because I at 13 wouldn't have been able to handle that. I would have probably been scarred, because I want to say it was more into high school that I even started the local haunted houses, and quickly learned that was also not for me. I maybe went to one or two between high school and college, early college, just with people, and I never went back just because I really did not like that type of thing. So, if your kid likes scary things, 13, I guess, but I definitely would say overall it's more of an adult event.
Did y'all see any kids when you were there?
Yes. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to judge, but there was people with a 2-year-old and 6-year-old.
Oh my God.
I just felt bad. The 6-year-old honestly seemed excited. She had a shirt on from the year before. That's not my, almost 5-year-old. I don't even know what she would.
Mine would not.
So again, I don't know, but I feel in general, the whole atmosphere feels more adult. And not to mention, so we saw one person with a baby. I'm not sure if they were just going as a family, but she obviously had to sit out. And I don't even know if they do the whole rider swap for that kind of night. So I did see one mom who was, with her baby, waiting outside of one of the lines. And like I said, they may have just gone just to enjoy the atmosphere or something, but it felt more adult to me for what I would think. But I'm also a scaredy cat, so I am going to probably put that higher age limit on it, but that's my take.
I would say you definitely have to know your child. I have a family member who her daughter's 8+, but she's grown up with the horror family. She's not afraid of that. They've grown up with that. So for her, I could see her taking her daughter to that, but that's what they've grown up with. You can't take somebody who's an 8-year-old that's never experienced any kind of horror or, scare kind of thing. So you definitely have to know your kid and what they've been brought up with. So that would be my advice in regards to that.
And there is a lot of just drinking too. So again, it's just that type of atmosphere. It'd almost be I would equate it to taking your child to a nightclub. It's more of a nightclub feel, just because it's dark, there's low light everywhere, and then the only thing you are seeing is scary stuff. So
And when it comes to the dress of just the average guest, it's still very adultish. There's people I've seen guys wearing fishnet shirts with pasties. It's can get provocative for what people wear and what they don't wear type stuff. So going back on that nightclub type feel, I do plan on taking Travis as soon as he shows interest in scary stuff. I was on the phone with him one night while I was there, and he goes, "I want to do the scary stuff with you, Dad." So I was
oh, that's sweet.
I'll come home right now and pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not ready for it. But once he's actually ready, I'm going to bring him. I also will say that during the day they try their best to cover up all the props, so you're not seeing the dead bodies and whatnot that they have in the scare zone. So it won't interfere so much with the day guest that don't want to have anything to do with HHN. because some of those props get gory. There's one in the Swamp Undead where the guy is getting chewed up by a propeller on an airboat. So it's all covered up. You don't have to worry about seeing anything if you don't want to see it. When are we going next as a group? That's my question.
We
Next
should
year.
do the premiere night next year.
Premiere night next year.
I want to compare Hollywood to Orlando now.
Okay, so-
now that I've been to Hollywood, now I want to go to Orlando and compare it.
So you want
And
to
with the cost though of Premiere, when you total it up, because I do think Express is
worth
to
it.
have a good
Yeah.
time is really that's what I would highly recommend. And by the time you add your ticket with Express, knowing that the Premiere includes food and unalcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages, but like that, I think is honestly a great deal, just knowing how essential that Express Pass is. I mean, if you saw those lines, oh gosh, the lines just had so many turnbacks. I didn't even believe the times when it said only a 40-minute wait. It was the type of line you looked at and you were like, no freaking way that's only 40 minutes.
well, there's a soundstage that is nothing but switchbacks for Orlando. It's right behind Rip Ride Rocket. You have
For
to
which house?
monstrous. So yeah,
That's a lot of people to have
is
in
a-
mind.
I've never seen it completely full, but the only times I've been through it, I've had Express or my friend had the DAS. So I was lucky. But yes,
Rachel, do you think you and Terry, have y'all been convinced to join us next time?
Oh, I already told Jason yes. Because I go to scarier ones up in Pennsylvania. It's called Penhurst Asylum. They can touch you. So I'm all game for it. So I told Jason next year. Definitely.
I'm a team player. I'm down for anything. It might take a couple of drinks, but
We'll get you some drinks, Terry.
yeah,
bars in the line.
that's what you need. See,
Do
they know
they?
their
Yeah,
audience.
and some of
They need-
them they have bars in
That's
the line.
smart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
I mean,
smart.
when you have an hour wait, you halfway through, you can pick up a drink. All right. So for our next episode, we're not going to have any guests. It's just going to be Rachel, Terry, Mike, and myself. We're going to talk about something that we just love, like our favorite list of something. We don't know yet, but you'll have to tune in a couple weeks to hear what we talk about. But for now, we're going to let Heather and Allison plug themselves and tell us a little bit more about how you can get in touch with them to book your next Halloween Horror Nights trip or any other Disney, Universal, or family vacation.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. It was so fun to be back, especially talking about Halloween Horror Nights, because it was surprisingly a great experience. You can always find me on Facebook or Instagram at Allison Hobbs Magical Travel. I even did put out a small reel about Halloween Horror Nights. If you want to watch that on my Instagram, maybe get a small idea of what it's like. But anytime I travel, I try to keep my stories up to date. So just follow along.
And yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for having me. This is Heather Kalia. Been with Magical Travel for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, so you can find me at Heather Kalia with Magical Travel on both Facebook and Instagram. And I also have a little coffee cozy shop that you can follow along with as well, called Once Upon a Cozy. So I specialize in Disney, Universal, cruising, all inclusive. So I'd love to have you reach out and help you plan a magical trip.
And her cozies are the best.
All right. As usual, if you want to get a hold of any of us, you can go to magicaltravel.com and get with any of our agents for booking your next vacation. Heather and Allison, thank you again for being here tonight. If you like what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, review and share our podcast with your family and friends. We'd appreciate it. Help us with getting us up there in the Apple and Spotify stuff. You all have safe travels, and we'll see you on the next episode.